Welcome to the InStory show, and these are our InStory live conversations. We're on day 3, and we're so excited you are here. So when you come in, feel free to share in the chat. We're going to dive into all kinds of live topics. So I'm going to have our speakers, in each one of them, she's going to introduce herself and tell you where she lives and what she does, and then we'll go in and we'll ask some questions and share and connect. And if you are, I forgot to say, if you're here live with us, feel free to post comments or questions in the chat as we go. All right, Raquel, why don't you start us off, introduce yourself, and tell us a little bit about what you do.
Hi, everybody. I'm Raquel Spencer. I'm currently living in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I refer to myself as a quantum ascension guide. I work at the quantum realms with the light architecture and have been working for about.
Oops, sorry, Raquel, I just muted you by accident.
Okay, I'm unmuted again. Here I go.
Sorry about that.
No worries. But I work at the quantum levels with light architecture that holds this experience in place and working to unlock that which keeps us in the game of duality and separation. And am now so excited because we are anchoring all of the new that is coming in the higher organic onto the planet, and super excited about where we are headed as way showers into the future of a life outside of the game of separation and duality. So that's
So,
me.
okay, wonderful. All right, Shiloh.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here with you today and these other incredible women. I am an artist and educator, and my emphasis at this time is really providing sacred spaces where people work with self-expression to come into the layers of identity that are just there ready for us and waiting, and that our life stories and traumas and scars and all the things we go through keep us from. So it's less of a sudden awakening and more like a revealing of one's self to oneself. And when we're at the canvas, part of what happens is our brain waves start to shift, our heart patterns come into coherence, and this really magical thing begins to happen with this, what I call the magic wand, the paintbrush. But it's not ultimately about painting, it's ultimately about arriving in who you are already. So I love it. I've been doing it for 30 years, and I'm so happy to share it with everyone. And it has nothing to do with being a good painter.
I think so often that is the case. It's not about the outer form, it's about the inner expansion and awakening that happens. So I I was gonna ask about intuition, but I'm going to ask in two other ways because of the way Raquel talks about her work and Shiloh. So first I want to ask, in this realm of what is called quantum, I want you to both say, what do you think that means? And then we're going to go into what does it mean to be magical? Like both those, I want to use both those words for the pure fun of them and what they mean. So Raquel, start us off because you do talk about quantum. What do you mean by that? How can it help us to grow and awaken and expand?
Well, that's a really loaded question. For me, quantum is all that exists. And we live in a quantum world with a very individualized focus, and most don't even realize the vastness of who they are as quantum beings. This expression we're sitting in these bodysuits we're sitting in, is a very one singular expression of who you truly are as a multidimensional being. And so, quantum to me is what we really are working with when we talk about ascension. And I don't know if a lot of people are even aware of that word,
All right,
but
explain that too.
okay. So from my beautiful and humble experience over the last 40 years, we are literally moving out of the experience of separation and duality. Now, this game's been playing for millions of years in time, but the quantum doesn't exist in time. And so there is no time. Everything that you've ever been, everything that you've ever experienced as a fractal of source is playing out in the quantum. And so when I talk about that, and when I talk about the fact that you're multidimensional, understanding that this lifetime, and we're at a threshold in cosmic history that is unprecedented. It's never happened before because all of the beings of light, all the fractals of light, the beings that originally set up this experience, were all back embodied. And I can guarantee most of the people listening to this are part of the group that set up this experience. We're all back. We're all back to unravel and bring ourselves into unity consciousness. I know a lot of people have heard that word or Christ consciousness or that kind of thing. And it is about understanding that you are so much more than this expression and that it is the totality of who you are and how you've played. And I use that word played because I don't want to take this too seriously because it's been a heavy game. The way you've played out throughout the spectrum and understanding that it is this embodiment in which you bring it all back into wholeness and we step beyond all the limitations that have been here. And this time in history, it's we're wrapping up this experience to move into a whole new harmonic universe, a whole new frequency band, a whole new fabric of reality that goes beyond what we've been experiencing. So this is the most exciting place to be, the most exciting embodiment to be in. And I really work with people to understand the totality and how that brings you into wholeness to step forward into a whole different expression. It's not being human, something improved right now. It's a whole new ballgame. It's a whole new set of rules. It's a whole new set of frequencies that we are here to bridge, not only for ourselves, but all life.
Awesome. All right. There's so many different ways to talk about this. So, Shiloh, chime in with, I think the question is really how are we helping people in this time of transformation and what does that look like in your world? So, Shiloh, tell us a little bit about what that looks like in your world.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like for me, the work that I do with self-expression is all about bringing someone into a state of presence. And that state of presence is healing. And like Raquel says, like the quantum is really everything. If you think of quantum in it from a scientific perspective, is like an electron can exist in multiple states or positions at once and adapt and adopt different states based on observation. So particle can become wave. Now imagine that from a health perspective, just to give an example, if someone is in a health situation and that is being amplified by stagnation and inflammation, the literal seeming particles are all fragmented and they're coagulating and they're crystallizing. If we could get those particles to wave, then you could have movement in your body. So it's so mystical, the quantum, but I'm so much about like how does it actually work to move the particle to wave when we pay attention to it. So if I'm painting at the canvas and I'm working on a health issue, I'm like asking, show me. Oh, what's coming up? Oh, you want me to pay attention to my gallbladder right now? All right, gallbladder, what's happening? Oh, there's an image. Okay, how do I change that image from something that feels stuck and hot into something that feels cool and moving? So it's so scientific, but it's also so mystical. So that's a quantum superposition that particles could change to wave. And I'm saying to people, pay attention. And when you feel even a shift, slight shift, like a release of energy or chills or a burst, watch it because your observation of it changes it. So it's really about how humans can co-create with change emotionally, physical, spiritually, scientifically, somatically. And then think of something like quantum entanglement, right? That says that objects, once are linked, no matter where they are in the world, they're actually impacting each other. And so I think of that in terms of, and back to what Raquel was talking about too, about the separation, when we really grasp that we're really all quantumly entangled, like when the Big Bang or the cosmic orgasm happened, right? We were all starting out close together. We were all in that original super moment of heating up and expansion, and then eventually 13 billion years later, like here we are. But we're all quantumly entangled. And so there's also healing that can happen intergenerationally by observing the reality of how everything is really quantumly entangled. That also helps you not feel so alone, helps you feel connected to everything. So I'm literally about the influence of chemistry and how self expression changes chemistry in the moment so that I can feel 1% better, which gives me 1% greater access to thought. And it's access to my thought, including in the field around me, access to what's around me in the collective, which allows me to make a choice for my life. So I'm very much about the direct application of working with quantum physics at the human level, at the canvas, or at the altar table, or at the drum.
You guys are just completely
Brilliant.
blowing my mind in a way. Like there's just I don't even know how to say it, way more ways to perceive what's happening. Like I think that's why I called this expanding into a new story, because you guys are just expanding into a new story. This is not the story we were told when we were growing up. This is not the story that most of us have been telling ourselves, and Ato I see here who is raising children right now, and she gets to raise them with these new stories. Right? Like we are opening up something so that we're able to pass on this new way of seeing and being to to each other, and then for those of us, depending where we are, to our kids, our grandkids, whoever it is, because we're not as stuck as we were led to believe. So, all right. So now let's help people. Let's do a couple of tips or practices. They'll go back to Raquel that help you to begin to experience this shift out of the old stuckness. There is that automatic, the push that you can't get around that stuff also. So let's give people some tips when they're like, okay, that sounds great, but what the heck does that even mean? Right?
Exactly, exactly, exactly. Well, and I think one of the biggest things that I really try to bring to the table is yes, you are a human having this human experience, but you are the culmination of everything you've experienced throughout the quantum.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, not just this planet, not just this solar system, not just these bodysuits. I
Mhm.
go way beyond where most people aren't looking for the cause of what is bleeding through into this level of consciousness. So I love what Shiloh is doing. It is fantastic. The movement, the being in that, and just to expand that understanding that man, it might not be just ancestral on this planet. It might not just be the fact of something that happened when I was a little child. It may not be anything I as a human in this current state of consciousness would ever be able to pinpoint. But when you open up and realize as divine beings of light, in this experience, we have played in so many different bodysuits and roles across vastness of this universe that when you open up that understanding and say, okay, wow, I might be looking in the wrong place. My gallbladder might be screaming and I've done all these things. It may not be from a human lifetime. It may be from something else I've experienced in this beautiful container that we put together millions of years ago, but it's all playing out now. And so when you look at the repeat patterns, when you look at, oh my gosh, I've done everything I can possibly think of, and this pattern isn't shifting. This isn't healing. This isn't,
Mhm.
man, what else do I do? I then invite you to go beyond thinking from a human perspective, and that it has to be coming from an ancestral or an experience in a human body. And that may seem really strange to people, but the vastness and the way that we've played out, again, at this at this threshold of where we are in cosmic time, we're wrapping up and bringing back into wholeness the totality of who we've been. So I just invite you, when you do that, take a deep breath. If you're still stuck in something, if you can't find the root, it's probably because the root goes beyond where you're thinking to look,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? And I have a technique that I call quantum healing that takes you through. It's not the gift I gave, sorry. Um, but I have a technique that takes you that allows you to expand your conscious, expand the net of where you're looking
Okay.
to bring something back into wholeness, to
Okay.
love it back into wholeness, to bring it back into balance beyond what most people are. That's why they keep coming up against it's not healing, it's not healing, it's not healing. Because in this particular time, in this particular lifetime expression, we're here to really wrap up all of it, and you're not looking in the right place sometimes.
Okay. All right. So, and the thing is, you can go into Raquel's world and connect with her more to see how she goes about this. But I think at least we're hearing things that are new and interesting, so we can be curious. So,
Because you don't even have to pinpoint it.
yeah.
You don't have to know, but you have to be willing to say, wow, okay, maybe I'm a bigger being than I thought I was. Maybe where this is coming from is not where I'm currently looking.
Hmm.
And even that can open up and allow you to access through movement, somatic, painting, whatever floats you, whatever gets that for you, right? Um,
Right.
to open up the field to access new levels that you weren't maybe even aware of.
What I'll tell you what it makes me think about that I do is I do a lot of work with what I call imagination because sometimes it doesn't seem like what you're saying could be real. And I say it doesn't really matter. There's a difference between true and real. If something feels, even if think you're imagining, if it feels true, it might not be real necessarily in your perspective, like in your science or your religion. Like I always say, imagination is a free pass.
Well, and one of the things that's so interesting, and one of the taglines I've used forever, is that the awakening, enlightenment, is the ability to embody light, that then it's a true embodiment, it's a physicality thing, it's a cellular thing, but then it changes your perception.
Hmm. Hmm.
So as you embody more light, as you bring more of your truth, right, in your perception of what you literally see is actually changing.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it opens up your imagination and your truth. Sometimes our mind can get in the way. So
Okay.
I always it's go to the heart, go to the high heart. What does your heart tell you?
Yeah.
And that's where the magic comes in, right? Because you can let go and know rather than believe.
Right.
It's a knowing.
Right. All right. Now you're going to pause and we're going to go to Shiloh to get her. I chimed in a little now. Shiloh, lay it on us.
There's so many beautiful things you both have shared. Like when you tune in for a moment, what do you feel like I could contribute in this moment to amplify?
What helps you and helps your people to shift out of where they're stuck? Like, because
Yeah.
I think sometimes we hear these ideas and you're
Yeah.
like, okay, what the heck am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
I just feel
Yeah.
stuck in my old thinking. I feel stuck in my life and the demands of my life. And
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for us in our community, it's the same exact thing every single time, which is go to the page, go to the canvas, go to the drum, go to the dance floor, go with an anticipation of change. Don't surrender, don't release expectation, come and anticipate change. And when you move your body and you observe yourself metacognitively and you even observe your heart and brain, I say, like, I right now am choosing that my heart and my brain are coming into greater coherence right in this moment as I'm with you all. That is what's happening. I back it up with my hands, I say it with my voice, I observe it with my consciousness, and then I believe that the shift is happening. And sometimes that shift is a micro breath, and sometimes it's a big, huge shift. But for me, it's about changing state quickly in the moment every time, and then knowing that you have this as a go-to. So I know if I've heard some bad news or there's a trauma response, or I'm like, I even these days have a mounting bit of panic attack. Like many people, I'm like, wow, I've never had that before. That's so weird. I know exactly what to do to start to shift it. And I'm not saying that works for everybody and that it works every single time, but knowing that I have the power to collaborate with a slight state change in my chemistry and that I'm backing it up with the science, right? So literally energy equals matter at the speed of light. It's the same thing. It's equal sign. And so if I'm feeling something in my energy and my thoughts, and I apply matter at the speed of light through painting or movement, then it's going to start moving. It has to. The only question is how much. And that how much is depending on how much I give myself into it. Or if I'm feeling something stuck in my matter, seemingly matter, my body, and I want to move that energy again, then I could go to this. I have a canvas right here. I could go here and I could start to move this brush and just start stroking. And I can even close my eyes and I can just say, I want to move this matter at the speed of light back into energy, particle become wave right in this exact moment. And it is happening right now. And with some practice, it really is happening right now. There's no way that it never stays the same, right? That's the quantum superposition. It never stays the same. The particle is always waving, and the waving is always particling. And so to really bring that down into the minutia of the moment where I actually visualize, I'm seeing, so if I have a physical thing, I'm seeing the particles, like show them to me. Okay, they're purple, they're in a tangled knot, there's a lot of heat in there. And I'm like, what's the resolution to that? And then I visualize that. It starts to move. It does actually work. So I really focus on micro changes through chemistry, and that gives power to the greater identity pieces that we can't get to if we're stuck in, fight or flight.
Right. So what really strikes me between from all of us is that it's always about getting into a different state. Like I
Yeah.
call it the state of connected flow. And then I ask what's an image, and I'm doing it all in your imagination. What's an image or a metaphor? All of these things allow us to shift into a different state in which we're not stuck in the old processing. Like you said, Shiloh, even if I don't talk about it as chemistry or quantum, because I don't really know anything about that, I talk about imagination. It doesn't matter. People are going to resonate with all these different modalities, whatever works for you. The trick is that we're you doing something that gets us off of that automatic, that gets us unstuck from that. So I want to bring up one other thing, and we'll go the other direction. We'll go Shiloh and then Raquel, which is this whole idea that's part of this summit, which is how do you dare to be seen for who you really are? Like, how do you come out of hiding and dare to be seen for who you really are? And I talked about trusting your intuition also, but that kind of goes with kind of what we've been saying. But um, I think that there is this feeling that a lot of people have about being afraid to be seen and afraid to be seen for who they really are. So, Shiloh, say something about that in your world, and then Raquel.
Yeah, I think it's a really curious thing when we think of it relative to social media. Mhm. Right. So it's hard to speak about without speaking about it relative to certain arenas,
Mhm.
right? Like how we present ourselves, the faces that we present to different parts of the world. And as a leader, it's challenging because if a leader, and I have been a leader, even though I'm taking that hat off right now in my life, if a leader is truly authentic out in the space, like there's a chance they're going to gain followers, but there's a chance they're going to lose followers too. So it's really hard to be sort of out there without having almost everything you do be influenced by the observation of others.
Mm.
And so for me, the place where I'm most myself is in my classes, right? Where I am teaching and being, whether that's virtual or in person. And I give myself permission to be my full self, as outrageous as I choose to be. And then that usually gives other people permission. But out in the social world, I'm guarded, and I choose what I'm going to present and how. And it makes people feel like they know you so well because I announce huge things, and at the same time, it's chosen. So
Mhm.
I feel like my authenticity is highly curated right now, and my most authentic self is, shared for my lover.
Right. And that's an authentic and wise answer. And I
Yeah.
think what we do in all of us in offering people these classes and programs is giving them that safe, uncurated space to be seen for who you really are. And then you become able to choose what you put out in the world from a more authentic place. Like you might curate who you put out in the world, Sophia, but Shiloh, but it's from what it's from the authentic work you've done.
Yeah.
Leading, I often say lead with your light and lead in your lane. Because when you lead in your lane, even if you curate it to be responsible and be professional, you're still leading authentically for the people who want to hear what you have to say. Because it doesn't work to lead people who don't want to hear what you have to say. I could just, we don't all have to lead for everybody. Um, so I think part of it is giving people a place. Like you said, once you're in your classes, Shiloh, that you get to be your most outrageous self and model that for everyone. Because you're not being watched out in the
Right.
larger world.
Mhm.
We have to find each other. This is what I love about summits like this, is that we can find each other. And that we then hold this safe space for people to actually be seen and be safe at the same time. So
Yeah.
so I like that you brought up sort of both of those things. Raquel, your thoughts on this?
Well, it's really interesting because if it's not coming from your authentic inner heart, what you're wanting to be seen for, there's a lot of I think there's a lot of people who do not realize that they really have so much to give because we've been taught and we've been conditioned and we've been told over and over and over again. And I find there's a lot of us that know we want to be in service to the world. We want to give, right? And I just think it's so important to let go of the noise. Like Shiloh says, people either love me or the exact opposite. There's very little in between, right? And people have very strong reactions to me. And, there's always the haters. That's not who I'm looking for, right? I magnetize those who really resonate with what I'm saying, my frequency, what I'm bringing forward. And the rest is noise. It's just noise. And you have to learn how to not listen to the noise
Yeah.
because what you're bringing through in truth, if you only touch one person, the ripple effect is intense with what we're doing. It's magical. And so being authentic, that's the only way to be. You can't fake this. If you try to fake it, everybody will feel it because it's a frequency before your words. It's an energy that, man, the people we're working with, the ones that we want, they feel it, whether they know it or not, whether they say they're intuitive or not. We all know frequency. We all know immediately when we see someone or walk into a room. You guys have that skill. You always have. You just maybe don't realize how precious that skill is, right? We know. And so the more authentic you can be and just let the rest of the noise go. I don't really play on social media much. I walked away a long time ago. I'm ready to get back out there. But all of those, they go to an email I don't see. All the haters, I don't want to hear from them. They're not my frequency. They're not my people. They're going to want to lash out, but that doesn't have anything to do with me,
Right.
right? So being your authentic self and realizing if it's not coming directly from your heart and your passion, it's better to wait until you step into that and be willing to be seen for that truth, because that is what will bring like-minded to you. That's a frequency match
Right.
that will
Right. And
bring
there's
people.
And there's a point where you're awakening to that part of yourself. And that's why I love hosting a summit like this so that all of you watching we can find each other. And the thing that I want everyone watching to do is to say yes to your soul, is how I say it. Like if you're going, oh my gosh, I just have to talk to Raquel, or I have to talk to Shiloh, or I've got to connect with Devorah. Like if you feel that, then just make an effort to say yes to that, because we just don't make this expansion and this shift by ourselves. I like to say we carry the wrong audience around in our head, right? From whatever the old stories where we lived. So you need to get in front and connected with people who are aligned with you, like what in order to rewire that internal negative voice. And so you all have the possibility to come to get a free gift from Raquel and from Shiloh and from me and from all the other speakers. So choose. Like, I don't feed them out one by one. I say, trust your intuition and go by where you feel like. This is how I describe it. This is my technical term. When you feel ooh, 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 when you
Yeah.
feel that, then say yes to that. So, all right. So let's move towards wrapping up. So Shiloh, leave us with, if anyone has a question or comment and you want to put it in the chat, do that for us, do that. And Shiloh, leave us with a few last thoughts, and then Raquel will do the same, and we'll work towards wrapping up. And if we get a question, we'll answer that too.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity to share. What I feel called to share with you is just a remembrance of something that you already know, which is that you are a cooling sack of stars, that the stardust in your body has been traveling toward this moment for over 13 billion years. And that stardust is configured in the shape of your body with water. And I'd like to say stardust, water, and kisses. But it's all encoded with information of what you're carrying and what you've brought forth with you into this particular incarnation. There's something super powerful that happens for us as a species when we recognize that. So when we observe, oh, yes, like, right, I am the universe, universing. I am a part of everything that is. And I am an ancient being who's carrying sacred technologies. I'm not just what I appear, and not just my DNA, and not just my traumas. It's so healing to recognize that. So I leave you with the idea of how can you gently activate the stardust in your body as if you're turning toward it and saying, show me what's here. How do I align and bring greater coherence to this? And the energy is calming and connecting and, yeah, very quantum.
Can't you just all feel that? besides whatever you just said, which was gorgeous, there was also, you just embodied exactly what you're saying. I just went boom into my heart. Okay, so good. All right, Raquel.
Brilliantly said. Brilliantly said. We are definitely sisters, for star sisters for sure.
And they've never
Um,
met each other till
no,
now.
till today.
That's so
I
cool.
really resonate with you. You're beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, it sounds crazy, but I really invite you, quit thinking you're just human. You are so much more, and you have so much to give. And what you uniquely have to bring to the table, one of the things I say, awakening is an inside job, but the ascension, all of us moving into the new platform, the new earth, Christ consciousness, unity consciousness, there's 1,000 ways to describe it. That's a collective event. And we are all needed for our uniqueness, the brilliance of what we hold. I'll take what she said. Everything in your body, your bones are bone libraries, your teeth are crystalline vaults of information. The way that the body is holding higher truths that are just waiting for you to bring out into the world in your uniqueness. You already are a master. You already are a multidimensional being of light that is here, I say, on mission. And you've known that deep in your soul for a very long time.
Mm.
But it's time to trust your inner gut, your inner heart, your inner knowing, because we're all here together. And it's time for you to bring your brilliance, whether you don't think it's your brilliance, because it's you. You already know it. You already feel it. It just seems normal to you, right? Because you already know it. That doesn't mean the person you're going to attract isn't going to find immense value from that. So go into your heart, follow your passion, and quit doubting yourself, because if you could see who you really are as a multidimensional being, you would never question anything. You would go boldly out into the world and say, "Woo, we're doing this." And we are. So I hope you can take that to heart and know you're here for a reason.
Right. And what's so beautiful is that why we're all here together is because we just don't have to do it alone. Connect with who lights you up, who makes you remember this. Because I always say, like you said, you don't think about it yourself. I always say we're so normal to ourselves, right? We've lived with ourselves our whole lives, and often people like they think they're such a genius that seems normal to them, but it's really your genius. So trust all of this, trust yourselves. We've talked about trust in almost every call. It's really a big part of this work, and you don't have to do it alone. Reach out to us, connect, feel that sense of yes in yourself. And no hiding. Okay, people come out of hiding and connect. And it's sweet for me. Paula and Janet and Kay are all in my wonderful leadership team coming here. It was in my course before. People come back to you because we resonate with each other, because we feel this alignment and this connection. So trust that, everybody. And thank you, Raquel, and thank you, Shiloh. Thank you, everyone who's watching. And as I always say in farewell, remember to go out in the world and share your